Dr. Cornel West has been very plain. He supports Palestinians.
And yet we have a moral duty to keep track of the preciousness of Palestinian babies, just as we ought to keep track of the preciousness of Jewish babies.
In almost every one of his speeches, he stated so many times that he feels that the life of a Palestinian baby is just as valuable as the life of a Jewish baby.
His Palestinian baby in the West Bank has exactly the same value as a precious Jewish baby in Tel Aviv.
Some reason this is called hate speech. So Dr. West goes on Sean Hannity on Fox News, and I'm assuming it's because they know Dr. West is a Palestinian supporter, and they bring on Alan Dershowitz, a maniacal fanatic Zionist in support of Israelis at all costs against all others. And right at the beginning of this catastrophe, Sean Hannity starts out throwing Dr. West under the bus.
Attorney, also Harvard professor, Alan Dershowitz is with us. Thank you both for being with us. You always call me Brother Sean, I call you Brother Cornel. I'm not that happy with you tonight.
I understand. We could talk about why we...
Because we have 31 groups from Harvard. Harvard's supposed to be, I always thought, the top of the top. To get into Harvard.
So this is rich. Oh, this is very rich. Sean Hannity starts out this conversation by saying that, Dr. Cornel West, I no longer consider you my brother because I disagree with you politically. Dr. Cornel West has disagreed with you politically forever and ever and ever. I'd wonder what you actually agree upon, but he still calls you a brother because that's his religion. That's his faith. You have no faith. But I bet you are calling yourself a Christian. Be that as it may. Let's get to something else. It's also a slap in the face, Big Time Johnson, that Sean Hannity will bring up Harvard without bringing up the fact that Dr. Cornel West was at Harvard. And why did he end up leaving Harvard? Because of their anti-Palestinian beliefs.
In your letter, you say that it was your pro-Palestinian activism, your pro-Palestinian politics, was the reason why you were refused tenure. At one point, you call it the cowardly deference to the anti-Palestinian prejudices of the Harvard administration. Is that the only reason you think they denied you tenure? And a lot of your critics are saying, well, where's your evidence to show it was support for Palestinians that cost you your tenure? It's a big claim. What's the evidence for it?
Well, one is there's been a number of candidates to come through who've been denied tenure owing to their deep solidarity with the Palestinian cause alongside their sophisticated scholarship. One includes, in fact, a highly acclaimed Jewish Israeli sister. So it's not just a matter of either black or white or Palestinian or Arab. It's those who are concerned about truth and condition of truth is to allow suffering to speak, and certainly the suffering among our precious Palestinian brothers and sisters is just beyond measure in terms of what is happening under the Israeli occupation.
So what I'm trying to tell you is that, Sean Hannity, that was a very low blow, sir. And if I was Dr. Cornel West, which I'm not, I would no longer consider you a brother, because a brother would not take such a low blow on another brother to defend an institution that stabbed him in the back and so many others. But that's okay. You're just a media personality who cares about facts and people. Let's get on with the rest of this clip where you do more of throwing Dr. West under the bus for Dershowitz and your sponsors.
What an accomplishment, what an achievement, what academic excellence you must show, a cut above everyone else. And 31 student groups blaming Israel, blaming the victim. And your answer to this is they are largely right? Hamas that murdered children? Hamas that murdered innocent people?
Read the rest of what I said, though, brother.
Okay.
Read the rest of what I
they
said.
are largely right, but lacking nuance.
No, I didn't say lack nuance. That's the title of the piece.
Okay.
My actual words were, I'll just be very honest.
I got it here in front of me.
The words too, brother. The words were that Israel's policies of war crimes and collective punishment against Palestinians
I'll read it to you. Israel and the United States are
must
primarily
take responsibility
responsible
for killing innocent people. Anybody who kills innocent people are engaging in barbaric acts.
You said
no matter
Israel,
who they
hang
are,
on,
what color, what nation, and so forth.
Israel and the United States are primarily
And the United States has supported and enabled.
You explain to this audience. I want you to explain. How is Israel and the United States responsible for beheading 40 children? How?
At the time when Dr. Cornel West appeared on Fox News with Sean Hannity and Alan Dershowitz, he hadn't been privy to the information that President Joe Biden had made a public announcement from the White House stating that he'd seen actual pictures and seen evidence that Hamas had beheaded Israeli children. He said he saw it. He said he never thought he'd ever live to see terrorists who had actually did this thing, beheaded children. He said he saw it with his own eyes.
This attack was a campaign of pure cruelty, not just hate, but pure cruelty. I mean, I've been doing this a long time. I never really thought that I would see and have confirmed pictures of terrorists beheading children.
Well, turns out that was a lie. It was a bold-faced lie. That's what it was. And it's one of the reasons why, man, politics is just so funky and dirty and decrepit and disgusting. And anybody who's willing to go into the arena, you got to give them a little bit of respect just on the fact they're going to deal with lies like this. In real time, you on a show and a guy throws a lie at you so barbaric, horrifying, and tries to smear you with it. You support the guys that did this, even though Dr. Cornel West has never said he supported Hamas. Like, we don't support the military. We're not a part of the United States military. The guys at Guantanamo who were torturing, that's not you as an American. That same thing goes to Hamas and Palestinians. Hamas is an organization. Palestinians are a group of people. That's not the same thing. You could be Palestinian and not be in Hamas. You could be Palestinian and not support Hamas. But I'm going to go ahead and let this go, guys. I'm so sorry. It's just so pathetic what Sean Hannity does here. The gaslighting is going to be continuous against Dr. Cornel West. And frankly, he doesn't deserve it.
Were that Israel's policies of war crimes and collective punishment against Palestinians set a context.
Israel and the United States
Hamas
are
must take
primarily
responsibility
responsible
for killing innocent people. Anybody who kills innocent people are engaging in barbaric acts.
You said
no matter
Israel,
who they are,
hang on,
what color, what nation, and so forth.
Israel and the United States are primarily
And the United States has supported and enabled.
You explain to this audience. I want you to explain. How is Israel and the United States responsible for beheading 40 children? How?
I'm talking about the context. 545 Palestinian children died in August 2004. Not one American said a word. I believe a Palestinian baby has the same value as an Israeli baby. So when you have that kind of vicious hatred and revenge, you get response of hatred and revenge. They are all wrong. They're all war crimes. They're all to be condemned. But you cannot simply look at this particular moment without the larger backdrop of an ugly occupation and the ugly attacks chronically against Palestinians.
Those are not your words. Largely right. Israel and the United States are primarily responsible for this attack. Professor Dershowitz.
Well, I complained when Palestinian children were killed, but I explained why they were killed. Here is one of the leaders of Hamas. For the Palestinian people, death has become an industry. The elderly excel at this, and so do the children. This is why we have formed human shields of the women and the children. Hamas is the ones responsible for the killing of Palestinian children. Also, Hamas has a term. It's called the CNN strategy. And the CNN strategy is induce Israel into killing Palestinian children by using them as human shields. then parade the bodies out on CNN, and you'll see what happens. People like Cornel West will engage in crocodile tears, blame it on Israel, when the entire blame is on the Palestinians, Hamas, for using their children as human shields, and then using their children as shields to permit the killing of Israeli children.
Don't accuse me.
What is Hamas's charter?
I have the same outrage when Palestinian babies are killed, when Jewish babies or Israeli babies. I want you to have the same indignation when Palestinians are killed.
Not when they're killed. Not when they're killed by Palestinians. You can't make a moral comparison. When Nazi kids were killed in the bombings of Dresden, I didn't have the same comparison when Jewish kids were put in gas chambers and crematoriums. You're a professor of theology. Don't you understand the moral difference between deliberately murdering a kid and having collateral damage because there are human shields? You're running for president of the United States. What would you do? Let me ask the question.
Okay.
What would you do if terrorists were firing at American children in America, and the terrorists were hiding behind Palestinian children? Would you allow the killing of Americans to continue, or would you go and get the terrorists, even if it meant possibly collateral damage on Palestinians? What would you do?
I'll tell you exactly what I would do. First, truth and morality tend to be two casualties in any context of war. I would want to tell the American people the truth. I would tell them what the context is, how we found ourselves in this situation. I would not jump for a military invasion and a genocidal attack on a
genocidal attack
on Gaza.
No, it's not a genocidal
where are they supposed to go?
When you're killing terrorists.
This is like Warsaw, 1943. Where do they go?
Where do they go?
Yes.
Let me tell you where they go. They go to the UN. UN is keeping
from Gaza to Geneva?
No. The UN has places in Gaza. They go to the Rafah crossing.
11 UN people have been killed in the last few days.
They go to Egypt. They go.
Egypt, how they
wait
can't
a minute.
get out.
Let me make another thing clear. Gaza City is very dense. But Gaza itself, the Gaza Strip, there's lots of room. The Israelis have said, get out of Gaza City. Go to Rafah. Go to Khan Yunis, go to other places. And you know what Hamas is saying?
With no water, no food, no electricity.
You know what Hamas is saying? Hamas is saying, don't go.
Oh, I'm not here to defend Hamas.
Well, you are here.
No, I'm not defending Hamas.
Wait a minute.
Don't you ever lie on me like that, brother. I'm defending the suffering of Palestinians.
I want to hear
and Hamas itself committing war crimes.
I want to hear you say.
Anybody who commits war crimes are barbaric. I'm saying that explicitly, but I want you to say, if the Israeli Defense Forces are killing children, are they barbaric too?
No.
Are they ever barbaric?
No. If they target children.
Yes. Have they ever targeted children?
Absolutely. Never in the history
78 years.
have they ever targeted a child
you got to
deliberately.
Get off the crack pipe, man, please.
No.
The smears and the gaslighting displayed by Alan Dershowitz are something to behold. I don't think I've seen this amount of throwing it against the wall and hoping it sticks, saying every horrible derogatory term, and then not letting the guy talk, and then Sean Hannity also cutting in, making sure that Dr. Cornel West does not get a thought out, not being able to express himself. And all they really did, folks, is the people that are discerning. I'm talking about critical thinkers out there. You're out there. I know you exist. You hear someone talking over, you know what? The argument is garbage. I also believe that most people are smart enough to realize that Dr. Cornel West is not saying Hamas is good. He's saying you cannot treat people this way. You cannot put people in an open-air prison camp under apartheid conditions for 17 years to just show up and say, get in the cell. You're in these confines. You do what we say. And strip them of their rights, their pursuit of happiness. Strip them of their ability to move around. Strip them of their ability to pursue goals, ambitions, to take away everything from them, to treat them like less than animals, to refer to them as less than animals, monstrous demons, to demonize the people like that for 17 years, and then when a faction within those people rises up to go against you, and they do things that are wrong, of course, but what did you expect to happen? What do you expect to happen? Huh? What was the expectation of Alan Dershowitz of people that have been put in this position? See, Sean Hannity, Alan Dershowitz, and all the people that support Israel don't want to admit that Israel's wrong. You cannot care for one group of people at the total decimation of another group of people and then call it justice. It's just not. It really sheds a light on how people view people who are oppressed. Same thing they did to us, the same things they do to us currently. Any pointing out, any exposing of these issues, they say you're playing victim, saying you're siding with violence, but they don't consider what they do as violent. It is violent to deny someone employment, to deny someone ability to buy a home, to deny someone right not to go to jail on trumped up BS charges. It is violent not to provide an education and health care. It is violent not to compensate people who have been under your jackboot for the last 300 years. Some type of reparative justice. That is also violence. But it's not seen as violence to these people. But at the end of the day, no matter how they want to twist it and turn it and spin it all around, Sean Hannity, Fox News, and other people that do this, all you do is prove Dr. Cornel West right when he said this.
It's difficult to have a respectful conversation. Anybody critical, for the most part, of Israeli occupation is viewed as anti-Jewish and anti-Semitic. You get demonized overnight. And so it's very clear that those who are willing to step out are going to be targeted in a variety of different ways. I'm not the only one. I mean, Mark Lamont, there's a whole wave of folk.
Yeah. Any criticism of Israel is met with accusations of anti-Semitism. And no matter how complex the situation is in Israel, in Gaza, in Palestine, in Jerusalem, being unable to talk about it, discuss it, critique it is a problem. And it's also a device used to shut down dissent. All right, folks, thank you for watching this video. My name is Tim Black. Remember, like I always say, don't let nobody take your cornbread. And when they say to you, oh man, you watch that guy Tim Black, he gets loud, he gets bold. He says things that are just controversial. Tell him I said, it's a new day.